All right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be doing the most expensive oil change DIY for a 3G Eclipse. This is also going to be the proper way to change oil on this car. And I know I've made too many oil videos now, but I figured one of them has to be the correct way to do it. So let's make it this one. Anyway, let's get into it and enjoy the video. This isn't just expensive to be expensive, but this is using the best quality products and the best practices, I believe, to change the oil on this car. This is the stuff that you're going to need as I have arranged here, so we're just going to run through it very quickly. The first product that we're using before the oil change starts is this Liqui Moly Proline Engine Flush. I'm going to have a short video about why this is so good. They explain it very well, what this does and why it's so effective on cars.
Focusing first on our Proline products. This is our Proline Engine Flush, which is a highly concentrated cleaning product, which should be added directly before you drain the used oil. So add this to the used oil when the car is already on operating temperature. Once added to the used motor oil, simply idle the car for 10 to 15 minutes, no rough up, no load, no need to drive around. After this 10 to 15 minutes application time, simply switch off the engine, open the drain plug and drain out the oil. That thing will liquefy deposits and will help your engine to perform as good as possible without having deposits at the piston ring zone, at hydraulic actuated systems like the VANOG or VTEC system, and also it helps the turbocharger to operate as long as possible without having narrowing in the supply lines to the turbocharger.
So that's the first product. Then after we drain out the old oil with this stuff, after running it through for 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add 260 milliliters because this car takes 4.3 liters of oil. But yeah, this right here is a very good product by LiquiMoly. Heard very good things about it.
So talking about our additives with the black cap, starting with our most common additive, the Ceratec. Ceratec is a anti-friction and anti-wear agent developed mainly for modern engines, even turbocharged engines, and especially in Europe for these engines which have an extended oil service interval, which sometimes go up to 30,000 miles without an oil change. So Ceratec works with two active ingredients. One of them is a chemical additive that needs a little bit heat and pressure, and then it forms an additional protective layer on the surfaces. It hardens the metal surfaces. That chemical protection lasts up to 30,000 miles. And that one will prevent your engine of having excessive wear and tear. The fancy color of Ceratec is coming from the second ingredient, which is ceramic compound. So these ceramic particles are solid particles. Once you add Ceratec into your motor oil, these solid particles are on top of the surface, mainly made for friction modifying, reducing friction, and they work immediately. When you change your oil after 5, 6, 7, 8,000 miles, you always drain the solid agent, but the chemical agent lasts up to 30,000 miles as mentioned. So you can use Ceratec at each oil change, or you can alternate with another product that we'll talk about later to bring back always the benefits of the solid agent again. Don't forget to shake this bottle well before use and then just pour it into your engine. And don't forget, do not add too much additives inside, so you have to avoid filling it over the maximum. My personal recommendation, if you do an oil change and your car holds less than 5 quarts of oil, just add in the additive before and then top up with motor oil. Or you can also use these additives and add them in our LiquiMoly 5-liter canisters, shake the can well, and then you have a premix, whatever you prefer.
And I'm excited to try it in my car. This is supposed to help protect the engine and preserve engine life. So that's really good. This is the oil that I've done a lot of research on and I swear by. This is Penzoil Ultra Platinum.
Penzoil Ultra Platinum. Is there really a difference between that oil and this oil, the regular Penzoil Platinum? What about Penzoil Ultra Platinum? What's the deal with that? So we have it, we've analyzed it, so let's get into the results. Penzoil Ultra Platinum, as it says on the label in the back, it actually has a thing that compares it to all the other oils. And right there it says extreme protection. What does that mean? Well, I actually have a pretty good idea of what that extreme protection actually means. And then I'm going to tell you where that actually comes from. But let's go ahead and jump right into the regular oil analysis details. So right off the bat, we can see that Penzoil Ultra Platinum is a 5W30, just like the Penzoil Platinum 5W30. 9.9 centistokes versus 10.1 centistokes. That's just the margin of error with the blending. There aren't any differences in viscosity between Penzoil Platinum and Penzoil Ultra Platinum. When we look at oxidation value, we do see a difference. The regular Penzoil Platinum was 3.6 on the oxidation level, 10.1 on the Penzoil Ultra Platinum. That's the first hint, the first sign that there is something different about this Penzoil Ultra Platinum compared to that Penzoil Platinum. We get down to the silicone, which is the anti-foam. They're basically the same, 5 and 4. That's no difference. We get into the additive package. And we see something here a little bit. The calcium with the Penzoil Ultra Platinum is 1,029 compared to the regular Penzoil Platinum at 780. And then the magnesium is also 532 compared to the regular Penzoil Platinum at 321. So we've got more detergent in the Penzoil Ultra Platinum than the Penzoil Platinum. What we see, there's a little more detergent in the Penzoil Ultra Platinum compared to the Penzoil Platinum. The ZDP package is essentially the same, but we do see an increase in the molybdenum and the boron. So there was no boron in the Penzoil Platinum, but there is boron in the Penzoil Ultra Platinum. Now that could be from a friction modifier, it could be a borate ester. I think it is. We'll get into that more a little bit later. But we also see that moly level has gone from 60 parts per million to 97 parts per million. That's an increase. To go along with that increased detergent, they've increased the friction modifier package. That's what's setting the Penzoil Ultra Platinum apart. But what really matters is that oxidation level. And like I said, when you combine that oxidation level, that increase from 3.6 to 10.9, and you bring that along with the boron levels, what that makes me realize is what they've added is probably a borate ester. So esters are a type of base oil. They fall into the group 5 category. They're very polar. They have really good anti-wear properties. They can be friction reducing properties. And like we said in the label, it says extreme protection. Yeah, I think that's where it's coming from. And the reason why I say that is when we go beyond what just that oxidation level is. See, oxidation level actually comes from a test called FTIR, which is basically an infrared trace of the oil. So what we're going to do right now, let's go look at all the infrared traces on all 4 Penzoil samples. And I believe you're going to see what makes Penzoil Ultra Platinum different. What gives it that extreme protection? You're going to see it right here. So let's begin with just the regular Penzoil. You can see that trace right there. That big spike there to the left, that's the base oil. Those little spikes, those 3 other spikes over to the right, that's the additive package. When we compare that regular Penzoil to the high mileage, they look exactly the same, other than there's this 4th smaller spike in between the big base oil spike and the additive package spike. That's the ester for this heel swell agent that we talked about that makes it a higher mileage oil. It said it on the label, we can see it in the oxidation level, and it shows up right there as that ester spike, right in that range where esters are located. Now, when we go down to the Penzoil Platinum, that oxidation level went lower, you can see a change in the base oil, right? It doesn't have that wide frayed top. It's narrower at the bottom. Why is that? Well, that's because it's the GTL base oil versus the conventional base oil. So you can see that change in base oil just by comparing those two spikes for the base oil. There's the regular, there's the Penzoil Platinum. So I went from a Group 2 to the Group 3 GTL base oil, and you can see a difference in what those base oils look like under that FTIR, that chemical trace. But then, let's go down and take a look at Penzoil Ultra Platinum. And there's the ester spike again, but this time it's two small spikes. It's not the same ester as what was added in the high mileage oil as a seal swell agent. It's a completely different ester, and that's what makes me think it probably is a borate ester, which is what's giving it that extra wear protection. Is it's a synergist, right? So the borate ester can work with the moly and the ZDP, and the three of them together can produce a greater result in terms of wear protection than any just one of those additives by itself. I can't prove it because I don't know the formula, but looking at this data and my experience formulating oils and using borate esters in some of those formulas would say I think that's what this is, which is why it's a pretty good oil. In fact, it's so intriguing, I'm gonna try that.
Very good oil. I like to do 5,000 kilometer intervals for my oil changes, and this oil uses a variety of different methods to protect your engine and keep things running great. So really like this oil. For years now of buying oil and stuff, this stuff seems to be the very best. This is the OEM Mitsubishi filter. They're gonna give you this ring. This is for your drain plug, and you got to get that. And then this is the part number here for this filter, and I prefer this filter. There's two OEM filters for this car. I prefer the wider filter, which is this one. So that is that. You're going to need this so you can actually drain out your oil. You need one jack stand, your jack, and that is a jug just for the old oil, a funnel so you're not spilling anything, and finally a 17 millimeter socket for your drain plug. Let's get into it. And then also you need the wood if you have a lowered car like mine. This is a regular jack. A low profile jack is just one that can reach down lower. I don't have that luxury, so wood it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I went ahead, I took the car on a test drive. The motor's all the way up to temperature. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add in the engine flush now and then let the car run for 15 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we've gone ahead, we ran the engine flush through the motor for 15 minutes now. I'm gonna jack the car up and get started with the oil change process now. All right, so we got our car up in the air. It's on jack stands, it's all jacked up. Gonna take the oil drain pan, we're gonna put it under the car, and then I'm gonna drain out the mix of old oil and the engine flush from the car. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can confirm she looks and drives amazing. The weather is beautiful today. The sun is out and shining. I did the engine flush on it, got all the old oil out. That was only 5,000 kilometers old. A bunch of black stuff came out, couldn't even recognize it as oil, but that's all nice and clean. Went ahead, put in Ceratec, so that new Ceratec stuff is going to be working its way in during the times that I'm driving. And then I topped it off with the new best of the best Penzoil Ultra Platinum. And this car is good and ready to go and very happy. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope this helps you.